let's just talk about sports and innovation and how, like, there are a lot of benefits to sports, right? I mean, I do a bit of Muay Thai and a bit of martial arts of Kadri Paya, and I see so many benefits for my health, my heart, and my mind. And yet, I still feel it's treated as maybe not a priority in our system. I mean, do you agree or disagree?
Maybe there's a few things that involve. During those days, okay, we talk about 30 years ago, there's particular one sport. Now, things that people do is because my friends are doing this, I want to go there. My friends is doing this, I follow them. But of course, it depends. When I say it depends, means of certain thing that is manageable, affordable, of course, they go this direction. For those who can afford more and can do more, will go this direction. But personally, I think so it's very, very difficult, because unless that person has a set of mind, probably from the parents itself, or he has made a decision and tell the father, I'm not going to go into education, I will have education as a guideline for me to make sure that I understand what I talk, I understand what I write, and when what is being explained to me, I know. And the next thing I want to do is, maybe I like to be a good squash player, I like to be a good golfer, or I want to be a good badminton player or swimmer. So that person has to be that. The rest, if the friends goes, they goes. Then after that, if the thing split, okay, that's it.
They all split along with what the friends want.
I mean, this is at the moment. So it depends also if the parents felt that my son can go further, my daughter can go further, I'll try. If not, maybe stop there. You continue playing at a social level, at school or university. The rest, just enjoy yourself.
So, Gary, DSA, do you think it's a positive experience or maybe a negative experience for schools?
There's a lot of merits to it. There's the fact that, you're giving an opportunity for a kid to be able to get into a program where they normally wouldn't have had an opportunity to as well. But here's the caveat. The caveat is, when they make it into the program, a lot of time is then devoted towards an academic pathway rather than a sporting pathway as well. So we need to reassess the whole situation and actually start asking ourselves, why exactly did we even start this program called DSA? The DSA, Direct Schools Admission, would be something that actually has to strike a balance between both sports as well as academic, but also giving the opportunities for sportsmen to excel. And if they're really going there for the reason for excellence in sports, to be able to take the pathway, why don't we take an education pathway instead of just a 2-year A-level track? Take it as a 3-year. Why are schools so resistant to it, knowing that they brought in kids from the DSA program and then they're not willing to actually create a bit of leniency in that sense? And we lose a lot of sportsmen along the way, passionate sportsmen that maybe they're still trying to figure out, they're trying to find their way around to be able to pursue into a higher degree of competitiveness and actually move into a national level. And a lot of times, like Carson was also sharing, like a lot of kids would actually stop halfway, and then actually by the time they reach uni, they call themselves a retired athlete. And actually, if you look at it, and then that's also the reason why it's very sad, a lot of them have to pursue this, like the people who really want to go into a sporting career have to take themselves out of the system and go somewhere else and pursue it. So what we're trying to do, I think times have actually changed a bit. We've managed to hold back a lot of, for swimming at least, I'll say it from my perspective, is that we have good resourcing, National Training Center, that we have to house our national athletes for a longer period of time. We have athlete services to be able to help educate the schools about a longer pathway and a trajectory.
Yeah.
And we also have sports school as well. And we work with all the clubs to be able to educate their parents as well as their swimmers to be able to understand, when you go and put your hand into a DSA pot, you must be able to pursue your sport rather than just, I'm in there for 2 years and then I quit. Then the whole reason that you're there is completely off.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of attrition happens as well. And we have to strike a balance. I think the schools have to be accountable for it. The national sports associations have to be accountable for it, as well as the parents.
Yeah.
Parents are guilty of that. And for me, if I'm going to let my daughter go into sports and swim, they jolly well better be swimming, because otherwise it's such a bad thing for them, right? They completely go into the school and they're like, oh, hooray, I'm in the school already, but then completely just say, I can't handle the stresses. I'm sorry, you put yourself in a spot like that,
Yeah.
you have to deal with it. I think from a parental perspective, you also want to keep the joys of sports there as well, rather than having it just purely on the result orientations perspective as well.
Yeah, it's a very, wow, powerful answer, yeah.
No, that's very good because, I think maybe the school also have to, the government or the school must also actually be responsible for these DSC students. Not only to take them because they are good at the school level, but maybe the school also can play a part by enhancing the performance of that particular student and help them even reach greater heights.
Yeah.
That is what we should, maybe those schools that are taking those athletes, can be any sports, but they also should take a role, because these are the kids that will be the future of Singapore. Of course, at the higher level, I think so the government also have to look at what they like to do for sports in Singapore. Means, do we want to have athletes, all of us, we like to take part in a Commonwealth game, we like to take part in Olympics. Everybody has a dream, but the dream is just doing like that, you expect to be there. And this does not happen.
Yeah.
In a country like Australia, at one stage, they spent $1.5 to $2 billion just to invest on athletes. And that does not mean there will be results. It's an investment. Doesn't mean he's gonna take 50 swimmers, we will get 5 medals or whatever. We are lucky even to qualify to semis or whatever. Look at each country. But if you look at countries that are performing, they have an aim. For example, countries like Norway, even countries like Jamaica, how they produce, because everybody look at it as a future.
Yeah.
And
The passion.
Yeah, that's so important.
everybody wants to follow suit. So,
Yeah.
of course, in Singapore, I think so. I'm proud that I'm a Singaporean, because Singapore, as the Prime Minister says, we can be here, we can be there. Now, other countries during the pandemic is collapsing, but our airlines are doing very well because we have that and we have the aircraft, and now we can fly everywhere. But not many airlines can do that because we have the quantity, we have the facilities, we have the aircraft. So it's the same like, if we want to pursue that, when we look at exports, we have to do in that way. We have to have that concept, and not just by saying, only this. Cannot.
Yeah.
If we want to do that, we put it, everybody will have a fair share. Okay, how you manage it? If you don't manage it, we cut. But if otherwise, this is how we should go.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, we need a professional who see for the country, not just based on, piecemeal basis. I think that is my personal view.
I mean, Carson, this is where you come in very strongly, because you do coach the young, you do coach children, and see how important they are in this discussion, right? So what are your thoughts on, the direct school admissions?
I think it has its merits. I mean, if you come from the point of view that my son plays too much and he doesn't spend as much time studying, and then he needs that, to enter a certain school to complete his education, that sounds good. Yeah, but I agree with Gary. I mean, there are pluses and minuses, and if you get into a school, and I feel that if any athlete gets into a certain school, that person should be bound, and we are really looking at the commitment. Yeah, how committed are you to say that you will do what you do?
Yes.
And that's not just important in sports, it's important in everything that you do. Yeah. And that's why in a lot of athletes, I see the athletes that I manage in university, actually the top athletes are the ones that actually do best in their academics.
Because
the
they're
university.
balancing it out. Because they're finding a way.
They know how to handle their time.
Yeah.
Their time management is excellent. They can come to the swimming pool and they don't seem to be studying. They don't seem that they need to study, and they're just hanging out with the rest. But when the results come out, these guys are in the dean's list.
Yeah.